Witty fan, what's good with y'all? Hey, so supposedly we got some disappointing news regarding Assassin's Creed. Shout out to my god, Master Assassin, bro. We're gonna get into this. See what he's talking about. Y'all know how the game go, bro. I don't even gotta get it. I don't even gotta say too much.
We got some more details on Assassin's Creed Shadows, some good news, some bad. I'll get into what exactly has me so disappointed later in the video. Let's start with some of the other stuff though before I get into that. So first things first, we got some details on what stealth will look like with Yasuke. Because even though he is clearly meant to be the combat archetype, stealth will still be possible with him, albeit he'll have far less options and tools when it comes to stealth at his disposal than now.
Okay, so Yasuke can still be stealthy, but it's not gonna be as stealthy as Naoe, of course.
Naoe. But he doesn't have a hidden blade since he's not an assassin.
Right.
At least not at the start anyway. It could still be possible that we see him join the Brotherhood by the end, especially if he's exiled like the real Yasuke was reported to be. But Yasuke's assassinations are described as brutal assassinations that he can do with any of his melee weapons.
Right.
So similar to Naoe, each weapon type Yasuke has will have its own unique assassination. But Yasuke's assassinations will not be silent. I imagine they'll be quite brutal just based on the name, and apparently he'll even yell at enemies with their backs turned to turn around since he is an honorable samurai. So it sounds like stealth with Yasuke is very limited and quite challenging, especially if he's just gonna yell at people to face him. Like, how are you supposed to fully clear an area if he's just gonna yell and alert everyone in the vicinity?
Right.
Maybe you can still ghost with Yasuke, so if you just sneak by people and don't kill anyone, you don't activate the yell. Perhaps that's a way you can still technically use stealth with him. I would imagine he can also use the shadows to hide as well. But I don't see much of a point trying to play Yasuke in a stealthy way, unless you're just trying to...
Yo, listen, if you're playing as Yasuke, you gotta just go all out, go crazy on everybody, straight up. Don't have to do no stealthy stuff, just run up on everybody, to be honest, bro. He's a brute, too, so it's like...
Create a challenge for yourself, which could be fun. But on top of all this, Yasuke is also going to be generally louder and slower in stealth. There will be some perks in Yasuke's skill tree to reduce the amount of noise he makes, but if you're just going to mostly rely on a stealthy playstyle anyway, then Naoe is the obvious choice. Which again has me concerned because so far, I don't see a lot of benefit in playing as Yasuke over Naoe at the moment. I'm hoping there's more you can do with Yasuke that we just haven't heard about yet, because right now he just seems like a simple combat character. His stealth is going to be super limited, his parkour is going to be super limited, he doesn't get the grappling hook or any of the stealth tools Naoe has. I'm sure you can dominate with him in combat if you build up his skills and weapons and everything, but his character in terms of gameplay just seems very one-dimensional as of right now. Just run in the front door and kill a bunch of people in combat.
Listen, I mean, if he's saying it's one-dimensional, that's like saying Ghost of Tsushima's one-dimensional. Kinda. A little bit. No, that's not true. That's not necessarily true. You could be stealthy on that too. But still. But like, bro, he's a samurai in the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what do you expect? You can't really get upset about that. I mean, he can. He has his opinions, of course. But yeah.
Rinse and repeat. And in a series where a lot of people play these games for stealth, I don't see a lot of people choosing to consistently play as Yasuke.
That's why we have Naoe.
Naoe seems like the far more well-rounded and versatile character, as it seems you can even get her to be fairly strong in combat as well, kind of eliminating the need to play as Yasuke. I don't know. Hopefully there's more to his gameplay we haven't seen yet, but what would that even be exactly?
So, alright, I know I keep on pausing it, but this is what I do, bro. I talk about what I'm watching. Listen. I think Naoe, of course, she's gonna be more versatile and stuff like that. She's basically the main character. Yeah, yes, Yasuke is the main character as well, but Naoe is the assassin of the game. She's basically the main character. It's really surrounding her story at the end of the day. So of course they're gonna do that, you know? Because
right now the characters don't seem very well balanced to the point where I'd actually want to play as both consistently. I feel like most people are just going to choose to play as Naoe like 95% of the time because she can just do more overall and is more useful in more situations. She may be the only one who can do double assassinations as well. As the developers confirmed, you can only do double assassinations when you have the Hidden Blade and Tanto equipped. But what has me quite disappointed, and this was something I was concerned about because it wasn't being mentioned at all in the marketing material, we saw no mechanics of it in any of the gameplay, and that's social stealth. Assassin's Creed producer Mark Alexei Cote clarified that there won't be crowd blending or low-profile mechanics in Shadows. This doesn't necessarily mean there will be no social stealth at all. However, crowd blending is a big part of social stealth in this series, and considering that we haven't seen or heard of any other social stealth mechanics to be in the game, it's pretty likely it will be very limited or even non-existent. Mark Alexei Cote went on to say that Naue will be invisible to military NPCs by default while in non-restricted areas, unless she does illegal actions to draw suspicion to herself. But that's not new to the series. That's how it works in almost every Assassin's Creed game when you have no notoriety. The only exceptions are with certain enemies in Unity and Syndicate, who will spot you even if you didn't do anything wrong. But that's because those enemies are aware of the assassins and what they look like, so it makes sense why they would be able to spot you on the streets.
Yeah, they're not gonna know who the hell Naue is on the street. Like, they're not gonna know that at all.
So just being invisible to enemy NPCs by default is not a social stealth mechanic. In fact, that's how it works in a lot of open world games, even outside of Assassin's Creed. And I'm disappointed about a lack of social stealth in this game, because I believe it's a fundamental pillar of the assassin fantasy. But before I get into my point, let's start with the basics here. What is social stealth exactly? I feel like the term gets thrown around a lot, and some people don't even know what it means. Social stealth was a term Jade Raymond came up with, one of the original creators of Assassin's Creed, to describe what was one of the important core features of AC1. Social stealth is the idea of being hidden by doing things that are socially acceptable. Altair can blend in with a group of scholars because he's not only dressed similarly to them, but he's mimicking their actions, and therefore nobody notices him because he's acting in a way that is socially acceptable. And this idea of doing assassin things while under the guise of social norms is a fundamental part of being an assassin. Being a blade amongst the crowd, hiding in plain sight, it is literally one of the tenets of the creed.
What are you doing? There are rules. We are nothing if we do not abide by the Assassin's Creed. 3 simple tenets, which you seem to forget. Stay your blade.
From the flesh of an innocent.
The second tenet is that which gives us strength.
Hey, what's up? It's Set Beats, and for a limited time, I'm offering 5 of my best beats for free. 100% free.
I don't care. Yeah, I make music, but I don't care about that.
Sight. Let the people mask you such that you become one with the crowd. Do you remember?
It is an essential part of what used to make Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed. I say used to because obviously we've had games since that don't have social stealth. Origins and Odyssey are the only games in the series without any social stealth mechanics, and they may soon be joined by Shadows. But what makes Origins and Odyssey different from Shadows is that in those games, you're not playing as an assassin. These games are before the Creed has even adopted the idea of hiding in plain sight, so therefore it is excusable and makes sense lore-wise why there are no social stealth mechanics in those games. Even though the real reason is because the developers couldn't make crowd blending and all that fit within how they designed Origins, as they originally planned to have social stealth, but eventually decided against it. But even still, it makes sense why Bayek wouldn't engage in social stealth. He's unaware of it because he has yet to create the Brotherhood that would center their tactics and philosophies around that. But Shadows is different. The excuse that we're not playing as an assassin doesn't apply here because Naue is a member of the Brotherhood. So she should be well aware of what social stealth is and how to engage with it. Even Basim in Valhalla taught Eivor what it was and the benefits of it, and he never even became a hidden one. Social stealth is part of the very essence of what makes an assassin, and if there really is no social stealth mechanics of any kind in Shadows, again, we don't really know that for sure. All the producer said is there won't be crowd blending, but we haven't seen any evidence of other social stealth mechanics like blending in on benches, or like Liberation's persona system, which I actually think would have fit Shadows so well. I strongly believe that the persona system from Liberation was one of the best and most realistic implementations of social stealth in the series. Evelyn looks different in every persona, and it allows her to blend into different levels of society. She even has unique hidden weapons that blend with her disguise.
You see how different Assassin's Creed used to be, bro? How detailed it used to be. It was so good, bro. It went towards the negative a little tiny bit, basically. So
And yet, Liberation is the only Assassin's Creed project to use this system. What a waste of a cool feature that would significantly flesh out social stealth in a lot of these games, beyond mostly just crowd blending. So, while I am optimistic about other stealth improvements Shadows is making, a lack of social stealth and likely the removal of a notoriety system, because there's been no mention of notoriety and nothing resembling it on the UI in the gameplay, feels like we're taking one step forward and then a step back again. The notoriety system in Mirage made it so there were direct consequences for not using social stealth. If you killed someone in the open and were seen doing it, you're gonna get notoriety and more enemies sent to search for you and hunt you down until you eventually are tracked by a Shakiria, the hardest enemy type in the game. It's a consequence of not acting in a socially acceptable way in public view. Say whatever you want about Mirage, but it understood on a fundamental level what it means to be an assassin and what that fantasy looks like. Basm wearing disguises, talking his way into places, blending with crowds, and eavesdropping for information in public.
See, that's Assassin's Creed, bro. That's the Mecca. I said Mecca, but that's not the Mecca, but that's the essence of Assassin's Creed.
Settings, that is social stealth. In the Grand Auction mission, he was able to manipulate his target into being alone in a room with him so he could take her out. That's the kind of thing assassins do. And again, as far as we know, Nawe can't do some of, or potentially any of those things. Again, a character like Yasuke not being able to use social stealth makes perfect sense. He stands out, there is no hiding in a crowd with him. If this was a game where we only played as a samurai, I wouldn't have an issue with this, because why would they use social stealth? But if you're going to have us play as an assassin, they need to play and maneuver in a way fitting one. That extends beyond just social stealth, that goes for things like parkour as well, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to keep this focused around social stealth. And some people may think, well, maybe they didn't want to implement social stealth if it was going to be as half-baked and mostly useless as it was in Valhalla. Well, if that is the case, I don't believe the answer to that is to remove those mechanics. It's to succeed where Valhalla failed and build out your systems and mission design to accommodate social stealth and make it worthwhile for players to interact with. Maybe it's possible Quebec heard a lot of people complain about how useless social stealth in Valhalla was, and so in response to that, they decided to cut back on it. But if that's the case, then they completely misunderstood that criticism. People were not upset that there was social stealth in Valhalla, they were upset at how it was implemented and how poorly the game was designed for it. And it was far improved in Mirage, again like I mentioned with the return of notoriety as well, but Shadows isn't building off of the improvements Mirage made. And I want to reiterate that I do like the innovations Shadows is making.
I love this in Shadows. This is amazing. That right there, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is fire.
When it comes to stealth, it's well overdue for Assassin's Creed, but we're also losing previous good features in the process that could have been built upon rather than abandoned.
Assassin's Creed is being like Madden right now, bro. They put stuff in, they take all the good shit out, then later on in another year, they'll put that back in and take other stuff out. I hate that, bro. Just keep everything in one game. Like, I don't get it.
And so now it's possible we may not see true social stealth mechanics come back until Ubisoft Bordeaux's next game. Who knows how many years away that is, which is even more of a letdown because we just got them back. Unless Hexay brings it back, but who knows. Again, I just find this disappointing because I feel like social stealth gets overlooked a lot in this series, even with some of the games that do have it. And I was hoping we could get to a place where these games would start putting more importance on it, like the original game, and flesh out these ideas, systems, and mechanics rather than cutting back or abandoning them. The entire idea and philosophy of social stealth is so inherently Assassin's Creed to me that I really feel like it should be more of a point of emphasis in these games. I know some people feel like some of the mechanics like crowd blending or sitting on a bench can be kind of useless, but that's a fault of game design, not the mechanic itself. If the missions are constructed in a way where blending can be genuinely useful, and even necessary, like certain missions in AC1, the Ezio trilogy, Unity, Mirage, even some in the Kenway games as well, then obviously players are going to seek it out more and be rewarded for doing so. The reason social stealth isn't very useful in a game like Valhalla is because you can often find better, easier ways of completing missions. There's rarely a benefit or reason to use social stealth, especially with how easily you can kill everyone in combat.
Got a point.
So more often than not, social stealth suffers as a result of poor mission design, and then great mechanics that had potential, like Liberation's Persona system, or even kidnapping from Syndicate, which is sort of back in Shadows, but is only for moving enemies and getting a non-lethal takedown option, rather than as a social stealth mechanic you can use to move through restricted areas. Innovative social stealth mechanics like those are only in one game and not continued on in the series because Assassin's Creed games so often fail to build off of each other. Anyways, thank you for bearing with me. Let me know what you guys think about not only the apparent lack of social stealth in Shadows, but the place of the feature in the series as a whole. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you considered leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you're new. And other than that, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, Assassins.
Yo, listen, bro. Y'all drop down in the comments right now. Let me know what y'all think about the social blending and the social stealth and the stealth in general in Assassin's Creed Shadows. And tell me from what we saw already, what do y'all like so far? But yeah, if y'all enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on notifications, get notified when I upload and stream, and I'm gonna catch y'all later, bro. I might stream some GTA Online DLC today, so stay tuned for that bounty DLC. We're gonna check that out tonight for sure. But y'all, deuces.
Yo, hold on my weight, but I'm all alone. No place to go, so ready to crash, I'm out of my zone. Still waiting for hope, still calling for faith, but hung up the phone. No place to go, bet on the stakes or lose on the throne.